birds of prey, and so on and so forth.
That's
Rachel,
right,
got
yeah.
anything to add?
No, yeah. Just before we came onto this show, I was talking to Aria about. I've told you guys I've played as Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. Oh, thank you.
wow.
Yeah, because I love Batgirl, and what I love most about Batgirl is that she works with so many of the other DC superheroines and villains as well, actually,
Yes.
as a matter of standing. And I think that you do embody Black Canary to me. And, you know, if you think about, like, the founding members of the... I'm not going to get into the details that we're going to talk about in the show, but
Yeah.
it's just about friendship and working together as a team, having it less be competitive and more about, you know, us, like, all, like, embodying and resonating with certain character types that we ourselves, like, love, and then having that fit with others who, like, love characters that, you know, fit in that whole storyline. So
Yeah, it's
been fun.
really true play and true power. And, you know, Dinah Lance, who is Black Canary, and Barbara Gordon are friends, both on and off, like
Yes.
both masked and unmasked.
Yes,
Like
they're friends in real life.
Yes.
And
Yes.
as Batgirl and Black Canary.
Yeah,
so Babs and Dinah are
Babs and
besties
Dinah
too.
are like, yes, and like they go camping together. There's this whole Birds of Prey little comic where like they're camping,
Yes.
and it's like you're missing out. It's like, you know, like texting each other, and it's
and
very sweet.
there was an episode. Well, there was a comic book where Dinah and Huntress.
Yes.
They go off somewhere,
Yes.
and so Barbara's like, "Oh no, I have like no one to help me."
yes.
So she teams up with Poison Ivy
Yes,
and Catwoman to
I
go
remember
like,
that one.
you know, save the day. And she's like, "Don't kill anybody, please."
Oh, I'm sorry you had a depressing day. We will try and make this funny.
Good.
I mean, I think we're adorable and hilarious.
Yes.
So, like, you know, I'm sure you're in great company.
Yes, we're here to give you some perspective on stories and bringing it to life,
And
right?
relationships,
Yes,
and like,
in
this
all
is-
of its forms.
Yes, and like
Yeah.
this was so there's a solar eclipse in Libra coming up next week. I think that's the one you were talking
Yes,
about.
yes.
And like to me,
A lot of eclipses, you guys.
a lot of eclipses, and to me it's very much oh my god, that's so you're hungry. To me that's like a new it's almost like new beginnings for relationships.
Yes.
Right? And it's like how we were talking earlier about how historically a lot of like female relationships are, you know, maybe catty, bitchy, competitive,
yes.
judgmental, gossipy, and the Birds of Prey, like both within Birds of Prey and outside, like this is not the relationship of Canary and Batgirl.
No, they're not
Yeah.
competing with each other.
No, they're
I mean,
not.
that was a little different from when we did Jean Grey and Emma Frost.
So competitive.
That's a bit of a different
Yes,
situation.
yes.
There's a bit of cattiness there. I actually have a
Yes.
Jean Grey comic where she like has a dream where she burns Jean Grey to a crisp. It's like it's
Sounds
that
about
kind of
right.
situation. So this is not that.
This is totally not
oh yes,
that.
hello guys.
Hi. Batman. Oh, it's Batgirl, Barbara Gordon.
Oh,
I
yes.
I was actually looking up. So this is like a funny intro into like the next section. But I was actually looking up the jobs that Barbara Gordon has held, and in different universes at different times. So at first she started off as like an administrative assistant, kind of secretary in the 1960s. Then she became a lawyer, then she was a politician, and then she was a librarian for a while, which I think is so amazing because Rachel lives across the street from a public library and she's often there.
I am.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
The library is like where I get a lot of the stories that I even read to you guys because they actually have a comic book section. And I mean, comic books are real books, you guys. That's the truth. So,
Yeah.
keto.
No, I love that. And I also love how all of this, like Barbara Gordon's genius, which is often very underplayed and like it's very much apparent, but it's sometimes underplayed because later on in her life she becomes Oracle.
Yes.
And she becomes
Yes.
the network and the information superhighway that not just Batman, but the entire DC universe comes to rely on, right?
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
all of the widgets, like it's Batman to start, but then he pretty much hands it over to her.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
so
a
I
mentor
Like
kind
a
of
mentor.
situation.
Yeah, we were actually going to talk about mentors. What's it like to be mentored by Commissioner Gordon, your dad, and Batman?
So I think that we discussed this. Well, I discussed this about why I love Babs so much is because she had to forge her like own identity. I don't want to say in spite of really strong male figures, but also just to be able to have the strength to stand their own.
Which Batman movie is your favorite?
Oh my gosh. We just watched Batman Forever.
I really like Batman Forever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Babe, did you play Kiss from a Rose?
Yeah, I like Batman Forever. Like, it's just the characters are fleshed out in an interesting way for its time. Rachel's just talking to her husband.
Can you please play it?
Are you gonna play the song?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
So should we say it's Batman Forever?
I'm going to say right now, because you guys know, this is my Gemini moon talking, my favorite changes. And so my favorite right now is Batman Forever, since we just recently watched it. And there's a lot of intel there about the Riddler, and he does like that, he steals people's dreams. And
big machine
with a big machine on his head, and he ends up being all like messed up at the end. But there's a beautiful, it's also the origin story of Robin. So they actually show the Grayson family all like dying, and like I had such a crush on Chris O'Donnell back in the day.
Well, I think everyone did.
Well, I mean, but like that scene though, because then you see where these two men relate, and speaking of relationships, right, that are friendships. That's that too, right? Partnerships.
So your relationship with Dick Grayson, who is Robin, then becomes Nightwing, is actually like similar but different to Batman, because they both have this relationship with lost family. But exactly. You don't.
No, in some renditions, Barbara's mother is lost, right? Yes. And so that's actually like why Black Canary intrigues me so much. Actually, you know how? Let's go back to our segment. Where are we in time space?
We actually moved to like mentorship, but like we're in relationships, so we're here in time space.
Also, let's officially invite everybody to the show, I guess, in terms of what we're going to talk about.
Oh yeah, our show is on relationships.
Yes.
And we're cosplaying as Batgirl and Canary.
Yeah, perfect. And then we basically, we're
yeah, so we were talking about mentorship, and you were telling me about what mentorship had, like, what is your relationship with your mentors, both Batman and your dad?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I think what's been brought up before is that Batman, as the initial member of the Bat family, Batgirl, when she becomes Batgirl and becomes known, I guess. Wait.
No, finish your thought.
Okay, becomes known by Robin and Batman. That's when it becomes a family, right? Yes, it goes from being like Batman and Robin to being the Bat family. So Batgirl, then you have Batwoman and Batdog and all this other stuff. But like, but ultimately, it's like, okay, now we are a family, and what does that mean in the context of like being superheroes and, you know,
having each other's back, working together.
Yeah,
kind of like trapeze artists.
Yes, and also like I love stories where it's like found family, right? Where your friends, like, you know, you've suffered a grave loss, right? And through that loss, you find others where you find new family and new like bonds between others that are very deep, that go like as deep as what family.
Yeah. And is this why Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, also is the founder of Birds of Prey?
Yeah,
because it's like all these men in her life, and then she's like, I'll do a thing with girls.
Yeah, and I mean, like the comic book I had just recently read with Batgirl, she when she first, there's a couple of origin stories for Batgirl, but in this one, she moves to Gotham from Chicago with her dad, Commissioner Gordon, and then she goes to high school there, and she gets bullied. I don't know why. Like, why are you bullying this girl?
Please, Barbara Gordon would end you. She's a martial arts
exactly.
expert.
And but she ends up befriending this like nerdy girl who's like the TA of the computer science class that she's in.
Of course she
And this girl is working on nefarious stuff like nanobots, which simulate psychedelic experiences. So, anyways, at this time too, Batgirl, she ends up working with Robin on this case. And Robin has these quips about like Batman being a very appropriate male absent father figure.
Yeah, it is. That is very
just funny. Quips about it, you know, just because I mean, like Batman, like they both are missing family. Like their family is all gone, right? Yes. And they have each other, and so it's your own way of having a family. Even in Gotham Knights, the way that they even have like they share the like Batman's dead in that, and so Nightwing and Batgirl and Red Hood and Robin all form a family of their own, right?
Yeah.
And so this idea of like even birds of prey being a flock,
Yes.
and working with Dinah and actually having that relationship where like you maybe you don't agree on all things, but you're like also the founding members of like a team of women who are strong and able to like bring their own unique skill sets to the table.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like make them be anything or I don't ever feel like it's like, oh, we're telling you what to do in the Birds of Prey.
Yeah,
right?
it's a very decentralized, I think, as is like an aspect of feminine power. Like everyone sort of like it's quite intuitive. And I also love this thing with the Birds of Prey that they will often, if need be, they'll include like Selena Kyle, Catwoman, and Pamela Isley, like Poison Ivy. Like they don't have this issue like, oh, I'm not gonna go talk to a villain. It's like this problem requires these people, and so we're just gonna go and we'll have, you know, the flock is there to like help if if someone does something crazy. There was a question. Batman Forever is not the one with Mr. Freeze. Sorry,
that's Batman and Robin.
That's Batman and Robin. Yeah, so different movie.
Yes. Different Batman too.
Yeah, totally,
but Chris O'Donnell
Batman
is the same.
Oh yeah, he is. Yes, that is true. Yeah, so that's a lot about Batgirl. And like just like the coolness that is Barbara Gordon, both when she's like fighting like front line and when she becomes Oracle.
There's a forgotten Batgirl movie that Kevin found me. I'll find there's footage of it. It's got Michael Keaton Batman in it.
Okay.
And Joss Whedon was supposed to do it, who made Buffy, right?
Right.
And it was done, I forget what year it was, but he ended up doing Justice League instead, and the girl is mixed race. So they make Barbara Gordon's mom black, and they make
I've never seen this.
I'll show you guys clips. There's this cool
gosh.
I was like, what?
That's amazing.
But it's a like they filmed a whole bunch of stuff, but I think they did test screenings and they determined like no one wanted it.
The time is now, friends.
And then you end up with
Joss.
Yeah.
I would love Joss Whedon to do a Barbara Gordon. Oh yeah. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Possessive much, my Kevin. He's mine. Yes, and yes, he's my Kevin.
Yeah, you were Kevin.
There's a few Kevins out there. That's why. Right? Who was I talking about the other day? Okay, there's Kevin Sorbo's birthday was the other day, and he played Hercules.
Oh,
and so we were just thinking about like, all the other Kevin actors, like Kevin Costner,
Kevin Smith, comics.
Yeah. So like
Speaking of birthdays, happy birthday, Barbara Gordon.
Thank you. It was my birthday on Monday. Happy birthday to me. I'm a Libra, first degree Libra.
For all you astro and comic people out there.
Yes.
So I'm here dressed up as Dinah Lance, who is the Black Canary. So I are known for our sonic scream.
The sonic scream that can shatter steel.
And we're both actually very skilled in hand-to-hand combat, which is like incredible and amazing. And I actually didn't know this. I've dressed up a lot as Black Canary at like Halloween's. Like I had this friend who was often dressed up as Green Arrow, and I'm like, we'll go together.
Oh.
And it was like,
is
years
that
and
a
years
love
ago.
Relationship?
No, it was not a love relationship. It was we will attend this party together, and then we will leave because we live near each other. Like it was like fully like
Did this individual like the character of Green Arrow? Like,
I don't think he cared that much. I think it was like a thing he got on sale. But I loved Canary, and like during many of these Halloween parties, I have this. I showed you my screech.
Yes.
It's not supersonic, but it is, you know, upsetting and loud and all of this stuff. But one of the things I was researching the character just before, and she's in many different stories. Laura Lance, like Dina Laura Lance, is she's like the district attorney or the assistant district attorney and things like that. And she was born in Gotham and she works in Gotham. I think she also works in Star City. But her and her beau, Green Arrow, have a flower shop. And I was like, I'm a herbalist, like on the side. And I was like, oh my God, of course. Because, you know, canaries, birds, flowers, there's a reciprocal relationship. Yes. So I like absolutely
love how that resonance happened, right? Because I tell you guys, like with your favorite characters, if you guys have a favorite bird of prey, if you're familiar, let me know.
Are you really? I'm so not. I forgot what. I didn't see what the previous comment was. He looks more like a gothic Robin on the comics. I'm ready for Halloween. Yeah, right?
Halloween, it's already spooky season. It's already always.
Is Black Canary single?
Are you single, Black Canary?
So Aria is single. Black Canary is very happy in her oozy-goozy relationship with Green Arrow. Aria is looking for my real-life Green Arrow, but please do not be like Oliver Queen.
You know what? This is a good segue into actual love relationships. Hold on. Hold that thought. I'm going to get a comic book.
Okay. While Rachel gets a comic book, one of the things I loved about Black Canary and Green Arrow, there you are,
I'm back.
They have, in previous versions or previous universes, they have a very on-again, off-again relationship. But in the more recent ones, even in Birds of Prey, they are so cute together. Like, everyone's like, getting together, getting ready for a fight, getting ready for a mission. And they're like, where's Green Arrow? Where's Black Canary? And they look to the side, and the two of them are just like making out in the corner. And they're like, oh, hey guys, we're coming. And like, it's so cute. So like the level of adorableness and the level of fierceness, because like they're both like super badass.
Yeah.
I love that. That is like me in real life.
This is not as like interesting maybe, but for geographic standpoint, Alexander McQueen is where? Is he in Gotham or no?
Oliver Queen,
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know where Alexander McQueen is. Ollie Queen is in Star City.
So where is Star City relative to Gotham?
I
get confused with
I
that. So
actually
so I don't know where Metropolis. So Metropolis
is West Coast.
West Coast, yes. And then
I think Gotham and Star City are a little bit more East Coast.
Okay, I feel like Star City's almost like Atlantic City or something.
Maybe. I know there's like a river or a sea because it's a port.
That feels like Atlantic City, like Boardwalk Empire.
Maybe.
You guys think of that? Like I feel like that's kind of like where Alexander. Do you guys know?
Thanks, man.
Oh,
emissary.
You can follow her.
Emissary of the Eternal Light. I talk a lot about plants and herbalism on my TikTok channel. I've actually not cosplayed on it yet. I was thinking of doing like a poison ivy thing.
She would make a great poison ivy, right?
Make a great poison ivy.
Yeah.
I am the protector of the green.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
but yeah, sorry, what were you showing us?
Oh, so in this, just speaking of Dinah's many relationships, I know that I feel like there's an on-again, off-again thing with superheroes. Generally speaking, it's not like they have stable relationships. I'm reading a comic book I'm going to read you guys later. It talks about Catwoman getting married to Batman.
I don't like it.
What are your guys' thoughts? But then
what's your channel? It's Aria_alchemy, and the number 0 after.
Yes. The egg of all creation.
I'm always interrupting your shows. That's okay. It's part of the fun. Don't worry about it.
That's part of the live show, right? That's part of like what makes it a throwback to what we were from. Yes, and so this is Birds of Prey. It's more of a newer edition. I've read you guys I think I read one before where it was everyone had to team up because all the men in Gotham had like some sort of toxin, and then Poison Ivy had to come in and make an antidote. So that was cool. But in this, the way it ends, not to ruin too much, but
spoiler alert.
They retrieve, Black Canary retrieves this man in like cryo sleep, who turns out to be her husband, Kurt. Yeah. So who's Kurt?
You know what? I've had so many lives here. So if I remember correctly, this is and I may be wrong here. So Black Canary at some point was a police officer, and Kurt was, I don't know if he was a cop too, but they had a relationship, they were married, and then he disappeared. But then there was a series of reasons why she didn't like go find him, or she couldn't find him, but then she just like continued life as a superhero and just left this guy lost. And I don't again, loopholes, and I may be missing a few issues of like what may have happened, but yeah. So then like her finding him randomly, because I don't know where's Oliver Queen in this? Is he in it?
I don't know if he's in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, he is in it, but I don't know if they're together at this time point, because the other comic book I read where it was Death of Oracle, they had been divorced in that.
Yeah, so they were and Oliver Queen's character in Birds of Prey, like his playboyness is a little played down. Again, it's kind of like a Bruce Wayne thing where he, like Oliver Queen has a persona, and then as Green Arrow, he's actually like, you know, like different, different, where like the truth of the person is the mask, and like Bruce Wayne or Oliver Queen is like that, like that's the actual mask, and like Green Arrow and Batman is so, but like
your true self.
And I'd love your take on this, because considering like all of the masked superheroes, the Black Canary never wears a mask. So she can have like
she's like wanted for murder in one of my comic books, and it's crazy because like she's not like one of the guys in here is trying to hit on her. He's like, "Hey, fishnets." She's like, "These are nanofibers that can block bullets."
Yeah.
They're not just fishnets. Yeah. But, you know.
No.
But still, fishnets.
It's a thing. And, like, yeah, we were talking earlier about mentors. And for Black Canary, so her mom was Black Canary.
Yes.
So those are obviously really big shoes to fill.
Yes.
And it wasn't...
And Black Canary is a really, if we think of, like, all the superheroes in all of the universes, Black Canary is a very OG superhero.
Yeah, she's pretty old. Like in the 60s?
Yeah, she's in the 60s. So she has her origins are, like, from, like...
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and actually you made a really nice connect, which I didn't know about. It was the connect between the origins of Black Canary, at like the theme of that character, that heroine, with the Silk Spectre from the Watchmen. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so because if you think about Watchmen, right, it's like a nihilistic viewpoint of even the DC universe. You have like Night Owl be like Batman.
Yes. With the Batman logo. Oh, that's so cute. That's amazing.
I love that. Yay. Welcome to Gotham. We're hopeful we're going to keep the night safe. That's what we're here to do.
God.
You're in
it
on
is
our
an uphill task. The birds of prey are here.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it's where was I going with this? What did you ask me?
I asked you about now I forget as well.
Okay, Alexander McQueen. No.
Why do you keep calling him that? It's Oliver Queen.
I don't know why I keep calling him Alexander McQueen. I feel like that's
Silk Spectre and Watchmen.
Watchmen, yes. About. Okay, so in one of my Oracle comic books, Black Canary gets put into this like trance, this mental trance, and she faces off against her mother, and her mother is a Black Canary as well, and she's dealing with like this judgment from her mom being like, why don't you do this and why don't you do that and all this kind of stuff, right? And so like anything that you kind of deal with and you're going through your own like dark nights of the soul, and you're facing off against this kind of stuff, and that similar type of motif exists in Watchmen when it comes to Silk Scepter and her mom, Sally Jupiter, who both carry that mantle of being a superhero, right? And so this expectation of like filling that role and being like your mother's daughter. And do they both have the sonic scream?
Yes.
Okay, so how does that work? Could you enlighten us on how your sonic scream works?
So in different universes, it's different. Some in a few, I've seen that it's inherited. So like the women of this particular lineage have it. I read one comic, I forget, it was a long time ago, where Black Canary got her powers because of what do you call it? Like a surgery, like an experiment.
Yeah, so she's modified.
She's modified in some way. And then more recently, the narrative is that she's a metahuman, and if you carry a metahuman gene, that you carry the metahuman gene that enables your vocal cords to emit that, which is also kind of like genetically how it gets passed down.
So you have a superpower.
Oh yeah, yes. So like, and I think this is like the beautiful part, right? Like with all of these characters, like even like with Superman and Batman, that Barbara Gordon's power is who she is. And like that's true with Laura Lance, with Diana Lance as well, but you know, she has this ability. Like they're both martial arts people and all of this stuff.
Yes.
But the one thing I really appreciate, and like I feel like I talk about this on your channel very often, is how Black Canary is portrayed in Young Justice, because she is older.
Well, you're my Young Justice intel, because I do say to you guys, like for example, the Batman movies from now. Sorry, let's look at the chat for a second.
Oh, Emissary of Light. It is Aria _alchemy 0. If you caught that, yeah. So Young Justice, which I feel I talk about a lot, is an incredible animated comic, and it's, I don't know, probably on Teletoon or Amazon. So it's the younger generation, right? So
Yeah.
it's Kid Flash, Robin then becomes Nightwing. Batgirl is in a later season. But one of the mentors, we were talking about mentors earlier.
Yes.
So one of their mentors is actually Black Canary, who is like the adult for these kids.
Yes.
And she is like, you know, she'll be their like den mother once in a while. But anytime these kids go through a crisis, which is often, they have to have an hour mandatory like therapy session with her. And I think this thing in Death of Oracle where she has to like sort through judgment, expectations, all of this stuff, you know, maintain a relationship, maintain her flower shop, maintain her day job, and fight crime and do Birds of Prey.
All of these
she's
parts
all of
of
these things.
herself, yeah.
And she's actually a genuinely very kind person. So like, again, they're kids, they're teenagers, so they're often like, yeah, I have this problem and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you're just kids. And like, okay, if this is what you think, what happens? And like, she has these interactions with Superboy, and he's like, I'm stronger than you, I don't need to train.
Yeah.
And she just, like, he is flat on his ass, like, after 5 seconds. And like, you know, there's callbacks where he's like, oh, I learned that from Black Canary, thank God, and it saves his life.
Yeah.
Right? So like, Superboy, who has the strength, or like more than half the strength of Superman, is able to learn something from Black Canary. And that like really lovely feminine power aspect of mentorship is so incredible, and it's very rare to see that in comic books.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, also, even though Black Canary has a superpower, she still has a practice of like martial arts, right?
Yes.
So like, you know, despite like talent, anything you have,
Yeah.
still takes practice, still takes all this other work that's involved, right?
Yeah,
So
and she is someone who often refines it. I know, like, in one of the Young Justice episodes, like, someone just, like, gives up on life, one of the Arrows, and he's like a beer belly and stuff, and she's like, we train because our body is a temple, and we keep it refined.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, she does a fight with him, and he, like, immediately falls over, and she's like, I made 4 mistakes in that fight. You did not take advantage of a single one of them. You are losing your sharpness. Because she has to learn, and this is where I love the influence of Green Arrow. Like, she learns, like, she doesn't wield an arrow, but she learns to hone her skill like an arrowsmith.
Yeah. It's true, because also her scream is quite powerful, so she actually takes care of when she uses it. She's like, if there's civilians around, she's like aware of that, so she doesn't like hurt people.
Yeah. Oh, the Blue Beetle episode was a really good one in Young Justice. Yes. Not the movie.
Red Arrow, Speedy, and the Luthor
Fix his hand and became Arsenal. Oh yeah, no, that's a really good episode. Yeah, those are awesome episodes.
Oh, you have some fans.
Yeah, I
in, like,
do.
Young Justice. Oh, I love that, because you know, because
It's
like
so great. I want a new season, guys.
I'm comic book literate, right? So I'm not as like aware of like these different kinds of things, and also I was like letting Aria know that when I play Gotham Knights, that like Dinah will leave like a little text being like, hey, we're gonna go to the movies tonight. So just to kind of like talk about how, like, you know, you have to have that balance, right, in yourselves, right, your work self, which is fighting crime, and like all the different selves that you're like balancing, right, and all the relationships you have as those selves as well, right? So it's kind of like it's a balancing act.
No, it is, and you read a lot more comics than I do, but I watch a lot of animated.
Well, I mean, you have a lot of people here watch a lot of animated stuff too, so it's part of all the storytelling, right? And so that's why it helps to have these conversations, because I don't know those stories, but they all are true, and so those all put together, you kind of get like new appreciation for a lot of the characters that you love.
Totally.
As well as you get a lot more intel in terms of like some stories.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of healthy relationships that women have, you've been dating Nightwing on and off, who is Dick Grayson. I love you, Dick Grayson. I know. Oh my God, Dick Grayson is so great. Also, Rachel's husband Kevin kind of makes a fine Dick Grayson. A fine Nightwing, sorry, not Robin, but Nightwing.
Yes.
But
we'll work on Robin too, because I have like when I watched Batman Forever, I was like, Robin is very, you're so cute.
You know what?
And then we're looking at the motorcycle.
Chris O'Donnell is not a child, right? So like, it is the Robin attire is very childlike. It's like appropriate for 10-year-olds.
But what they did in Batman Forever, his outfit with like the bat nipples and the
bat nipples
and the pleather, and he was standing there.
And that is pretty
and there's that scene where he's like, holy rusted metal, Batman, and then
Yeah, exactly. That was actually
Does
my
Sunfire
question.
know?
My question is what is your relationship with Sunfire? Because I love Nightwinging Sunfire, and I love Nightwinging you.
I love Nightwing and Sunfire too,
Yes,
you guys. I do.
Starfire.
Starfire,
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, holy moly. All the superheroes in my head. Where are you going?
Batman Forever is Tim Drake, not Dick Grayson. Isn't he the Flying Graysons? In Batman Forever, the opening scene for Robin is the Flying Graysons falling, right?
They're in the circus, right?
Yeah.
And Two-Face kills his whole family, and then there's this whole scene where Robin like is about to kill Two-Face, and Two-Face is like, "I'll see you in hell," and Robin's like, "No, I'm gonna see you in prison."
Okay, probably not the finest line.
I know,
of the 90s.
whatever. Anyways, but like, regardless, the point is that like that origin story was like the Flying Graysons,
Yes,
and so
exactly.
his trapeze family
Yeah.
died. I think in the comic books, it's like a mob shooting of some sort.
Yes.
But regardless of that, like he loses his whole family, and that's why Batman and Robin or Dick Grayson have that connection in the
Yes,
sense of
yes.
like. But Robin makes quips to Batgirl because Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon in a lot of the comic books are friends.
Yeah.
In my last comic book, like regardless.
Even when he's dating Starfire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So beyond anything, even in Gotham Knights, like
Yeah.
Barbara just teases Dick about like his dates and stuff. Right?
Oh, we're hilarious! Yes, we made it fun.
Oh,
It's amazing.
oh good. Good. I'm sure.
Sorry, you were saying. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Let's
no,
not
no.
interrupt each other.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
I'm asked. You're commenting on your relationship with Starfire and Dick Grayson.
Well, Starfire is like I love her. She's just like she's
so
a great
lovely.
girl.
It's like
right?
genuinely
Yeah.
really lovely.
Yeah, but I think it's just a matter of like me and Nightwing is because we've been through so much together
Yeah.
and we have a lot of history together. There's a lot of instances where we always have each other's backs, and
Yes.
it's a deeper friendship, and we're like best friends and more, and in some cases lovers. Yeah.
You know what? Like, let's talk about this. Like, there's all of this, like, we want people to get together and, like, we
Yeah.
love it when they do, but we also understand that they break up, especially in the superhero world.
Yes, because it's a hard thing to keep together
Yeah.
a relationship. Like,
Yeah.
Zatanna has that conversation with Constantine. She's like,
Yeah.
why is this, like, why are we like this? Why do we have such awful
Yes.
relationships? And it's hard to have, like, a sturdy relationship in a comic book world.
Does anyone... you know what? I'm sorry. Okay, my one challenge to that is somehow Clark Kent and Lois Lane, like, make this work.
But they're, like, there's a tell there for that.
What's
I
the
think.
tell?
Because I think... So, I read Crisis on Infinite Earths, Multiversity, a whole bunch of, like, these, like, crossover events. You always have, especially in the DC universe, a news anchor. And I think it's a tell because storytelling, and when I came to... thanks for the likes, you guys.
Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
we're
That's so
discovering
great.
the truth in the comic books, right? So I basically think that, because I first moved out to Toronto here to be, like, broadcast journalism. I want to be like April O'Neil,
Oh,
Channel 6 News, uncovering
Right.
the truth. So I think of storytelling, and so Superman as a hero in the universe of the DC, you need an anchor in time space to, like, have that
and that's
work.
Lois Lane.
Yeah, so
So
symbolically,
okay.
they're interlinked, like, regardless, right? And even though I did a
Right.
synastry with, like, Superman and Wonder Woman, like, yes,
Yeah.
that's a real... Although I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if sex were to happen with Superman, I don't know if a human woman, like, would that work?
I mean,
You know?
it does.
I mean...
I'm gonna go with it does,
Okay.
and everything is possible in love.
Yeah, there.
I mean,
so
okay,
that.
sorry. Starfire and, like to me,
Okay,
that,
yes.
like, Starfire, like, in Teen Titans, for example, like, she's literally glowing constantly. So, like,
She's
whatever
from
that does for her anatomy,
Oh, I see
like...
here. Power Girl. Oh, yes. I remember Power Girl.
I don't remember Power Girl.
Power Girl is, like, a version of Supergirl.
Oh, I see.
She's got, like, she's kind of...
Yeah, Superman has a kid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
John, or what, I don't know what Superman's kid is. With Lois Lane. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
So it's possible.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with all is possible.
Yes.
Did we want to cover anything else? I think we were good. Did you? So you love Starfire and you have a stable
do.
enough. You know what? The relationships might be up and down, but I really appreciate that they have each other's back. And when one person needs something, it doesn't matter if you, like, broke up with them or blah, blah, blah. I think we talked about this in the Zatanna episode where we were dressed up as Zatanna and Zatanna. It was pretty magical.
Yes.
But there was this issue where she did something that Batman inherently didn't agree with because ethics or something, and he still needs her for something, and he asks her, right? And he's like, and she's like, "Oh, I'm surprised you trust me."
Yeah,
and he was like, "Well, of the people I do not trust, you are the lowest on the list." And like in this
what
weird
a way to
background,
Batman way
it's
to
such
answer
it's
that.
such a Batman Zatanna. It's one of these like noir comics.
I love that.
And I was like, yup, for sure.
No, but that's also like the idea of when you think about soul missions, or you're like working on something, or working on something that, you know, we all have our different ways of how we even do things in relationships, or how we express things, and like how we communicate things. And so I think it's where this works on a team. Like Black Canary and Batgirl are very different superhero heroines.
Yes.
And but they're friends, and they're the founding members of the Birds of Prey, because you do have all these different iterations of the girls. Like I was reading one that had Dawn, and then I was looking here, I'm like, I don't know who this one is. And
Killer Frost?
Is that Killer Frost?
I can't tell, actually.
It could, actually, now that you mention it, it could be Killer Frost. Yeah. But regardless, like the Birds of Prey do have different lineups, right? You have Huntress, you have Dove, you have
Dove. I love
Dove. And like, and also you have like their male like helpers. You know, helpers.
Sidekicks.
The male Birds of Prey sometimes that like are in there to like team up, but they all work together. And even as Oracle, there's this idea of like a superhero network. So this concept of like, you know, everyone has their gift.
Right.
So it's a level of like realizing that, and then recognizing it in others, and then, you know, a lot can be
I forget if it was a Bird of Prey or a Batgirl thing. I think you gave it to me. She's like sitting on some rooftop. She's by herself, and she's actually coming into this like thought process of like, how am I up here in a world where like Superman and Wonder Woman exist? And Barbara Gordon is like, I don't have any powers. Why am I here? And then literally the next scene is she finds the person she's supposed to find, and she like kicks their ass, and it's incredible. And this is before all of the Oracle stuff, right?
That's before all. Yeah,
and
it's like when she's learning how to be a hero, right?
Yeah, she's learning. And like come into like a sense of immovable confidence that she can hold space and hold her own with someone who is a metahuman and has a sonic scream, and with like Wonder Woman and like all of these other extremely like the people with superpowers. Yeah. Because Barbara Gordon's superpower is that she's a genius in everything.
Her intellect and her photographic memory
and her ability. Yeah. Want to talk about her transition to Oracle? I think it's like a big part of that character's change.
It's all through tragedy, right? Yeah. It's like this idea of alchemizing something that really hurts and something that would otherwise like stop you, and you don't let it stop you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Birds of Prey. The new Harley series where they I haven't seen it, the new Harley series. It looked like I wouldn't like it. I don't know why, but I will give it a chance.
I love Harley Quinn. I'm not going to like diss Harley Quinn at all. But I will say that in terms of, because I'm a comic book person, right? So comic book canon-wise, Harley Quinn is a friend of Babs, but Babs and Canary create the Birds of Prey, and so it's kind of like you're there to. It doesn't make sense that Harley would have them if she's a villain, right?
And it I find. We were talking about this earlier. I'm watching Rings of Power, and I'm not I'm watching it, but I'm not liking it because, and I love how you said it. I was complaining to Rachel about it just before we started shooting this, and you said it so beautifully. Like, there's a source material, right? Mm-hmm. And people can pick out pieces of it and do amazing, incredible renditions, which they do, absolutely. But like, if you take it and then you focus on forcing the audience to have an emotion, but it's almost like there's no respect of the source material, and you change weird things. Like, why would you do a Birds of Prey without Batgirl? Like, would you do Harry Potter without Harry Potter? No. Like, you know, to me, there's like weird stuff like that where, like, it's like I'm telling a story because millions of dollars and blah 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 and movie and production, but like the essence of it, the things we love, the things that speak to us and actually evoke a sense of both empowerment and bewilderment, that's gone. Because, like, I don't know, maybe the source material isn't appreciated. So I don't like stuff like that. Like, I'll watch it to criticize it, but I don't actually enjoy it.
Like, I love the 60s Yvonne Craig Batgirl.
Oh, in the you're talking about the cartoon. Okay, great. So thank you for clarifying. So the Harley Quinn cartoon has
I tried, but Rings of Power is whack AF.
Yeah, thank you.
You have agreement there in the chat.
Yes, mess up the source material.
They do. You know what? I always have hope, right? Because you want to see, you know, because like when you read a comic book, the magic is you, right? Yes. You're who's making out here? But anyways, when you're reading it, as you're putting together the images and sounds in your head, you're having this like vision, and so you hope when you have like this big movie experience that you can see like this like story come to life and like have these characters embodied, and it's been done well, right? So it's just it's sad when like these stories, like there's potential, so much potential for this to like look epic, and it just falls short of it.
Yeah, and you're so right? Like DC movies, like the live actions do mess up the source material. The animated comics, on the other hand,
animations, love
the animations are so great. Yeah, for sure. All right, so I think the one thing I love, actually, that's like same but different with Black Canary and Batgirl is that, in a sense, they're both creatures of the night.
That's right.
It's like a nice segue.
Yeah, I have a dance routine planned for that, because this idea of watching over the night. After Infinity War, the movies
went downhill. Yeah, I totally
agree with that, too, because they didn't spend enough time with I don't know how you guys feel about stories, but I'm a big character person, right? So that's why the relationships matter so much. Like
exactly.
Who you're dating, who you're with, that kind of. I love that about any story.
Anything
it could be like a big epic opera, but like I'm like, who are you? Like, who's in love, and are they gonna stay together by the end of the story? That kind of thing.
And just like even when they like tease each other, and then there's like a callback to something.
Like, are you finally gonna get together?
Yes.
Like X-Files, Scully and Mulder, right? You know, you have
that is not my first thought.
No, but I just
will they, won't they? But cute.
But
cute,
you know what I'm
cute.
saying? No, like that movie has nothing to do with like dating.
Yeah, no,
right?
Not.
Or like, but the sexual tension.
Between
Scully and Mulder, right?
Yes.
And so another hot redhead, by the way. And super smart, and same kind of motif of this idea of being like the more rational one, even though you're female.
Yes,
right.
The more rational one. Yeah, because Mulder is just like off in his chaos. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, you were talking about Creatures of the Night.
Oh yes, Creatures of the Night. We have a dance routine that we're gonna do together. We'll release that on Sunday.
Yes.
But this idea of watching over the night and looking into the shadows, even like Black Canary.
Yes.
And I think.
The canary in the coal mine, right?
Yeah.
Like yes, like it's a bird associated with like daytime and outside, but there was a specific reason on the sensitivity of canaries that were sent into these coal mines.
Yeah. And the first sign of danger, they're gonna like bring out that song,
exactly.
Right? And so, but even like the idea of like warning and being letting everyone else know, and so this concept of like your vocal cords.
Yeah, and her power doesn't kill. It sort of like neutralizes, right? Like, I mean, she could probably kill someone, but the mechanism in her scream, it's sort of like a set phasers to stun type of thing.
Does she have like any weaknesses to that? Like, is there like any situations where she can't use her scream?
Yeah, there's so many. Like,
really?
If someone like psychic controls her, if you use like. I mean, if someone grabs her neck for it, like that's like the very obvious
that's
one.
interesting because in my last comic book with Batgirl, they're fighting the Red Queen.
Yes.
And then the Red Queen takes over Nightwing, so he starts having these red eyes and like trying to attack Batgirl. It's super creepy. And so Batgirl uses the neural implant that she has that enables her to walk, right? Because after the events of the Killing Joke, she loses Lucifer legs, she becomes Oracle, right? But after a time, she has a procedure done. There's a couple of renditions. Either Lex Luthor gives her an implant.
As he
or
does.
I forget. There's a couple of different renditions, but she gets use back of her legs, but it has to do with an implant. And so she like short circuits it to like get Nightwing back.
I see.
And then she loses the use of her legs, so she's basically on Nightwing, and they work together to fight the rest of the bad guys without the use of her legs.
I mean, it's
like, kind of crazy.
I guess the better question is, does Barbara Gordon have weaknesses? Because, like, I mean, Killing Joke is vile, right? Like, everything that happens to her, like, that is... And, like, yes, she takes her time, and she this is sort of like, you know, the archetype of the Phoenix. Like, she goes in and is like, oh, I'm like a comp sci tech genius person, whatever, all of the stuff. And she's like, she just does it, right? Like with help from her friends and like, you know, like the Bat family and all of the stuff. But like, I love that about Barbara Gordon and Batgirl. It's like, of course, this is her identity. She spent all these years, her dad, her, you know, Batman, all of the stuff. And when things became impossible, she like just kind of like alchemized and reflamed and became Oracle and supported the entire DC universe. Like not many characters go through that. It's a really incredible. It's really, really incredible. Trapping into rooms. I'm sorry, I was chatting, so we missed some of these comments. Apologies, guys. Okay, so yeah, we brought up Creatures of the Night and this like dance routine we're doing because both Canary and the Bat are, in fact, Creatures of the Night. And do you want to introduce our third segment, which is also like our segue?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, identity. So also, bringing this back to Batman Forever, a big scene in Batman Forever that I loved was the bat flying. Does Christian Bale have this one in his too?
He has bats flying.
Oh, okay. So this is like one bat.
Bats, yes.
One bat flying at you in the center. And this becomes Batman, Bruce Wayne's totem animal, right? He all of us also have the bat as well, right? And this idea with the bat as an animal that provides power is...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wild. Though Willen in this chat... I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, I might need to... Hold on, I'm going to see if I have to mute people. Let me just check.
Oh, okay.
Let me just check.
Yeah, so the scene Rachel's talking about is... I think when the Riddler has him, like, hooked up to the Dream Machine, and he just sees this, like, really big bat. Also, he tells Dr. Chase this. He's like... you know, I'm falling in a hole and I'm afraid, but I'm only afraid at first. And then this creature comes out. And I love that it's, like, to me, this is Scorpio energy, right? And we're moving into Scorpio season soon. But it's like descending into your depths, kind of like what Canary does with all of these judgments with her mother. And like all the characters have to.
Through that,
And then finding your source of power from what feels dark and hard and heavy.
Yes.
And like both these characters, Canary and Bat, kind of have to go through that. And I mean, I guess they all
think of the symbolism and stories that are around different animals, right?
Yeah, exactly. Nightwing ends up with Starfire, but then Barbara becomes Oracle. Yes. It's such a... Yeah, she's like... She is the information superhighway.
Yes.
Like, in a sense,
I love that about her, just because I also do have, like, my dad was a professor in computer science, and so I relate to Batgirl on that level where, like, I grew up with computers and tech and, like, coded my own websites when I was, like, a teenager and stuff. So I relate to her, like, that is a power in and of itself. And then you have all these super people asking you for help. And, and I don't have any powers except for your own human intellect. And that's a tell for all of us.
Yes.
In terms of the human genius, I think.
And, like, the way... And, like, I love your take on this. Like, the way I relate this to identity and relationships is, like... You know, at some point, we all go through, like, a renewal of self, right? Like, otherwise you're just the person you were when you were, like, 15 or 20.
Boring.
Boring. So ideally, your sense of self, your values, you know, just naturally change with life. You're in and out of relationships. You have a family, you have kids, your job, all of this stuff. Like, your service to the world, you know, and like you did that. You had a job that you quit, and now you are existing in the world, and your work and your service are in perfect parallel, right? Like, they're in sync. And not all of us can do that at all points in time, but I really, really love that. And so the sense with identity is when you find, like, this, like, totem animal that,
I'm gonna
becomes it.
I'm gonna drop in the chat. Do you have a totem animal?
Yes.
Do you, like, just like, because if you think about...
Black Canary versus Arcade. I don't know what that is. What's that? Who's it? Do you know who?
I don't know. I feel like I missed some context.
Yes, sorry.
So
the messages go fairly fast, and we can only see, like, 2 at a time. So our apologies if we're missing.
Okay.
Baby tiger, turtle. I'm super lost in
I'm asking about the totem animals. I think these are baby tiger and a turtle.
Oh,
Voice of
great.
one, I totally see turtle for you.
Yeah.
Why? So, not a full-grown tiger, but a baby tiger. is your totem
Also
animal.
telling.
Yes. What's your
Like
totem?
Leon the kitten.
Do you have a totem animal?
Listen, like, I feel like you can't ask a Gemini that.
I know.
Like, it's
I
gonna.
know.
I actually.
What is it right now?
So I actually sat in medicine time with an Ojibwe storyteller and healer many years ago, and the way she explained it was it's a little bit like the bat family. Like, you actually have a family of animals that often work with you, and they sort of form like your core, like you're working to so the way she explained it is this totem of these nine animals. They come and you are already familiar with them, and you are learning to refine their gifts.
Okay.
And then new animals may come, and then you are like, okay, like this is newness, and they sort of like come and go. So I can tell you that one of my oldest, like I think the first animal teacher that came in spirit form was wolf, and right now it's a frog. So I'm working a little bit with the medicine of Kambo in spirit before, actually working with it in physical, which I have. And so the work of the like amphibious nature of us, like the part of us that can leap, and the part of us that has an identity in water and earth, right? Like, and like the different, those are just different two elemental structures. I end up having a lot of bird related theme and energies.
Yeah,
right,
as a Gemini,
like 12th house Gemini, air sign, lots of air.
Yeah.
So I end up, and I think I pay attention, but I also have like mosquitoes, flies, like bats. So like other winged ones, I'd say. So those are probably mine, but it's a whole complement.
I love that.
Yeah. What about for you?
Oh my gosh.
Is it actually bats though for you?
Not really. And
it's more like unicorns.
Unicorns. I mean, like when I used to work my corporate gig as a digital project manager, I used to call me a unicorn because I would make magic happen. Like no matter, like I always tell, like you know what, guys, whatever happens snafu wise, there's always a way.
Batman Beyond is the ending of the Batman. Which one's Batman Beyond?
I have to look into all the Batman ones. You guys, we need to do more of like an animated watch party or show. Looking through the canon of that, I think.
What's with the unicorn chalice? It's an amazing chalice.
It's my chalice. I actually got this in Trinidad when we went there on a visit. So I got it in like a store there randomly. It's my chalice because, as I consume it, it's like, oh, I'm magical. But also this idea of, I love the winged ones because the birds are also like symbolic of like heart chakra as well, like your heart, and the idea of like traversing realms as well.
Kombucha. We're just drinking kombucha.
We're drinking kombucha. Kombucha, guava goddess kombucha, actually. Where was I going with this? My totem animals are lioness. I love a lioness because I love the fact that the lionesses hunt in packs. They hunt as a team, right?
Like the birds of prey.
Yeah. So they go out there on the hunt together, right? And so I love that concept. And also just like laying out in the sun and sleeping, and like that's just like my jam.
Good time. So Batman Beyond is Bruce Wayne is too old to be Batman and he finds a successor. I mean, of the lines of Robins. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember though we do live in a multiverse, right? Yeah. So in the DC multiverse, it's also just like which world are we talking about right now?
Earth 772?
Yes, I have a multiverse comic book that we're going to review actually as Oracle sometime this week. Yes, kombucha.
Guava kombucha.
Guava kombucha, yes. Yeah. Where else? Lioness. Mm-hmm. I love eagles. Golden eagles, like large, like huge golden eagles. So speaking of birds of prey, I don't know if there is a superhero called an eagle.
There's a hawk. There's
hawk, yes. But there.
You know what? Harbinger, which I feel is like a very you vibe.
Yes.
She's in Infinite Earth, Crisis of Infinite Earth.
She's also in Multiverse.
She's also in Multiverse. She's a little, I don't think she's an animal, but she's quite eagle-y to me.
Yeah, because it's this idea of the eagle eye view of looking down on everyone, as well as
what about Hawkman, yes. Well, Hawks is like, they have a whole planet, Rimbor?
I feel like Hawkman and Hawkeye, there's a lot more mythology with that.
Yeah,
that deserves to be looked at.
So like all of the because there's Hawkwoman and there's Hawkman. But like they come from a planet, and not everyone looks like a hawk, but like everyone has wings there, and I think it's called Rimbor. But do not quote me on that. I may be mixing
They're
up
cool,
two
though.
planets.
That's
They are
cool.
cool.
I like them.
I've never been into them enough to like look at like a lot of them in detail. The American Eagle from Marvel, and the the American Eagle. I think I've seen, but I've not. I don't know
Someone's saying I'm quoting you. Too bad, Aria.
Quoting me? What did I say?
You're like, don't quote me on that in terms of like Rimbor.
Lol.
But you know, in terms of like, yeah, I love gold eagles, large gold eagles, and this concept of like being an eagle eye view of everything, seeing everything from a zoom back camera situation. And then I love dolphins.
Aww,
I really love dolphins.
What do you think of Aquaman then? Do you really like?
I actually do like. You know, I kind of Jason Momoa. I liked him at first, but he's not really Aquaman. No, is he?
Okay, oh my god. So, like, please prepare for a rant, and I'm sorry, not sorry in advance. So I actually also really love Jason Momoa.
Yes.
Like amazing.
I love Jason Momoa.
I was okay with the first. Like, I was okay with the first Aquaman. I didn't think it was a great movie. I thought the storyline was weak.
Okay, yes.
Mira was weird. Like, Mira was very un-Mira.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone was very not who they are. Just, like, a shadow of the self.
Yeah, because we're talking about Atlantis here, right?
Right. Like, so, what is happening? Anyway, like, it was way too obvious. And then, the new Aquaman that just came out some months ago, I was on a plane. I was on a 17-hour plane
I didn't
ride
watch
back.
the new one. I don't know.
And I was like, you know what? This is probably going to be dumb. I started it and I lasted 10 minutes. I kid you not, I preferred to stare at the blank screen or stare out the window than watching Aquaman and the entire archetype, the entire story resonance get completely degraded. And they did it in the first 10 minutes. Like, that has to be a new load. Like what? I'm now done my rant. Sorry, now you can continue.
I like Aquaman from the video game Injustice because he has a trident and you have like long reach, and I'm like always in video games like, I need to be far away from you so I can hit you from far back here.
He has a song in Young Justice. Nice rant. Listen, man. Like, don't scroll. Like, I'm not like deeply in love with Aquaman, but like.
I just think that
he
that's
has
not,
a theme.
It's just not. Yes.
Yeah, it's
that's
like,
just not Aquaman.
Just don't make the movie if you're gonna make it like badly. Just make a different person who lives in the water. I don't know. Like,
no, like I have I do have a thing for like mermaids as well because like
I have to go miss. Oh, sorry. Someone said a thing.
Oh,
you got a friend tonight.
Yes, I do. Yes. Hold on. Let me just make sure.
Hello, Chris. Someone said something just before. They need good writers. Yeah, the Injustice Aquaman. Aria, I'm so sorry. I have to.
Emissary of Eternal Light says, I'm sorry, I have to go. I miss you already.
Thank you. And thank you for engaging with us today.
Alia from today. I've seen her before. What's her name? Aria. Oh, yes. Oh. They need good writers. Injustice.
Aquaman has a decent.
Injustice Aquaman is the cheap.
Oh.
What do you mean is the cheap? Aquaman that had a decent cartoon.
Oh, did he? Yeah, that's awesome.
I think so. I think I remember seeing that. Okay, good. I think we're
caught up.
And that's some roses.
Kombucha cheers. Kombucha cheers. That's awesome. Kombucha cheers. Oh, we just got a gift. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, what were we talking about?
We're actually pretty done. We talked about everything we wanted to speak to. The reason we ended with like animals and animal totems was because, Rachel, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're going to go all into totem animals and this whole idea of going into like the stories behind each of these animals and how they can reflect is to like deeper parts of ourselves.
Yes.
And identity and like even like the shadow parts of ourselves and even animals.
Especially the shadow parts. Like, and what emerges from the shadow. Like the diamond in the rough type of thing. Yeah.
Because I think of also like Libra splitting the chart, right? So it's like we're now going into the underworld, and so it's good to have some animal guides.
Yes,
as you go along your way, I feel like.
Yeah, and so we're doing animals and also like primordial elements, right? Like we're talking about like
essences and energies.
Yes, exactly.
Like, symbolic meanings.
Air, earth, lightning, fire, all of these elements that show up to like help us, support us, and help us kind of come to ourselves more, so that we're more supported on the descent down, into the underworld.
Yes.
I know nothing about superheroes, but I think I might learn. Oh, well, welcome. So I'm just a guest here, but
yes,
you are in incredible hands with Rachel Z here.
Yeah, that's right. So I read you guys comic books. I do have a Birds of Prey comic book. I'm not going to read this one in full. I have a different comic book I'm going to be reading a little bit later. It's Batgirl. She fights the Riddler, and in this, she basically like, it's called like Before the Wedding, and Catwoman and Batman are getting married. But I don't get it because I don't know if it like. It's not like Bruce Wayne is marrying Selena Kyle.
Right.
Is it? Or like how does that even work? Is
we'll
Batman going to get married to Catwoman
in order to find out? When is your live?
Oh, when you guys know. At some point in time in the evening.
I'm Batman, but I'm no expert either. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how that works. We'll read more about it, but in there as well, like the complex relationship between Nightwing and Batgirl is there as well because
juicy.
They're not together. But there kind of are.
No, isn't that the one where he's with Starfire?
No, that's a different one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's Summer of Lies. Because they do a flashback. So in the flashback, Robin, actually, Dick Grayson, after one of their missions, kisses Barbara. But she's like, whoa, no.
Yes.
We're just friends. And he's like, oh.
Dang.
Awkward.
Yes.
But he tried, so.
In Arkham Knight game, a Riddler kidnaps Catwoman, and you have to solve 100 riddles to save her. Shit, really? That seems annoying.
Hey, did you play that in Arkham? We should stream that. We have Arkham. Yeah, we actually got stuck. Kev was showing me with Poison Ivy, and I was like, "How does someone get stuck at Poison Ivy?"
Hey, she is dangerous.
She is, but she actually uses this big monster Venus flytrap thing, and she goes into it like a mech suit and operates it. And so Batman has to fight this. I'm like, oh, now I get why.
Yeah.
It was hard to fight.
Okay, I actually saw... So Amazon Prime has this animated series of Batman that's a little bit like 1960s theme. And the first episode is Pamela Isley. And she's all reformed. Oh, my.
Well, just when you're on long enough.
Oh, yeah. So Pamela Isley, Poison Ivy, is all reformed. And, someone is doing something weird and creepy with plans. So Batman obviously suspects her. And he goes, and she has, a husband and kids, and everything's all rosy. And he's like, oh, good for you, you're reformed. But he kind of doesn't believe her. Turns out, and this is creepy.
Okay.
He goes into her basement because he doesn't actually believe her. And she has been genetically, she's doing gene splicing with vines. So her family that you see, which is a husband and two sons, she grows them in these Venus flytrap things, and they only last for a certain time. They become babies, then they become 10, and after a few days they become these green swamp thing looking monsters, and then they just die. And and it's so disturbing, and I was like, dang, Poison Ivy, you have so many problems, girlfriend. I love Poison Ivy.
She's awesome.
I might dress up as her. But
I think she should for the Gotham rave. It's a Gotham party. We're going to have everybody cosplay as Gotham
kids.
Gotham people, yeah.
1990. But yeah, that is a really good one.
Yes, no, I agree. I love a lot of the cartoons. Cartoons don't have the constraints of live action stuff, right? And so they can really go into the imagination and really just have the characters be and do the powers that they should. And have the costumes be what they should, right? Because you don't have to be that looks weird in real life. Yeah, I recently, a few months ago, I watched X-Men 97, and for some reason, I never saw that one season that came out. I watched the original X-Men, which was also very good. But X-Men 97, what? How was the voice actors in that, if you were to compare it to the original 90s one?
I thought it was a bit better, because it came out a few years after. The script is tighter. It's only one season.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. When and where may I join? I'm sorry, no, I already watched it. I think my Teletoon subscription is up. Yeah, but that is all we had. So join us next Friday. I'm not sure if we're doing it on TikTok. We might not.
If we're in person, we'll do it on TikTok.
Exactly.
If not, I don't know how to do that. So
that is no problem. But yeah, join us next week for Twitter.
Regardless, we'll be live next week. We'll have all the links better organized in my link tree and stuff, you guys. So Aria also does readings, and you can follow her on TikTok. And she, as she said, is an herbalist. She's an alchemist. She's a quantum priestess. She's also my friend, so should throw her some love, And so, and also for me, I'm actually like updating all of my stuff, all of my offerings as well. I have a new offering where it's like like RPG games.
Yes.
Like Dungeons and Dragons. Mm-hmm. So I do that, but based on your astro. And I'm making an RPG game with game mechanics based on astrology. So, like, you basically can, like, play live, but have it be tabletop RPG Dragon Warriors.
Holy shit, that is incredible.
Right? Yeah.
I'll dress up as Batman, and can I join your live? Yeah. Yes?
Yeah.
Or
you can.
Join our rave that we're trying to plan.
Yeah, we'll organize it ahead of time if you're Batman, for sure. Yeah. And then I usually have a mask on, you guys, but since we know who we are.
Well, this is a safe space. We can be unmasked. I mean, I don't wear a mask.
Unmasked party, right? So see, like you guys know my secret now.
Your secret identity.
My secret identity.
Yeah, but Barbara Gordon has never seemed stressed about her secret identity.
She really hasn't. She only really got stressed that comic I read where she was Oracle, and she was worried about her friends being in trouble if people knew who Oracle was.
Yes, exactly.
And it's funny too because Cassandra Cain is Batgirl in that, and Cass comes to see Barbara, and she's like all in her full Batgirl gear, and like Barbara's like, "That's a lot of purple." She's like, Did I wear a lot of purple?
Yeah,
and it's just like, I'm like, yes, Barbara, you wore a lot of purple.
So much purple was worn. Yeah,
I love the purple.
It's a vibe. Cassandra Cain is cool.
She's awesome. I love Cassandra Cain. Yeah, but like that's the thing.
I'm super biased because my bestie is definitely Babs.
Babs, yeah. But it's all to say that as Oracle, I love that name too, Oracle, right? And so this concept of like being that. Cortana in the video game, it's like this like little like angel on your shoulder just being like, hey, turn left here, go right here, don't worry, backup is on the way.
Yeah.
That kind of like that archetype, I resonate with that. Like,
hey, just give me 5 seconds. I'm gonna turn all the lights off of that building over there. You can turn so
or just as like the security's gonna be off duty in about 5 minutes. Hold up now. And then like that kind of situation. You always need that on a team, right?
I will take you as an angel on my wing any day of the week.
That's right. Yeah, it might take me a little while sometimes, where sometimes things last minute I'm like, why are you not working, technology?
Yes.
But I will always figure out a way to make it work. There's always a way to, like, technology is, I think we agree on this, like, there is a certain art to technology as well, right? And how we wield it is, like, as a tool, even as we're doing this live stream, like, setting everything up, there's, like, prepping for it. There's all of this stuff that
the entire production that enables us to do our mission. Well...
Yeah, there you go. That's a perfect way to end that.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us on our little cosplay and exploration, and you've been an amazing audience. Thank you so much for all the gifts and the comments.
Yeah, thank you so much. Until next time, we will be here same bat time, same bat channel. I always wanted to say that for real.
For actual real. We say it when you're not dressed like it.
I know, but actually, guys, like, join us. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, I'm going to do the live off here.
Same bad channel.
I know, we actually literally did it. It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
You're doing great. Looking forward to next week.
Oh my god. This one guy did get a bit creepy. I was trying to ignore his comments.
Okay, I should have muted him.
Yeah. I mean, he was fine, and then he became creepy, and then when you went and